Welcome back to Morning Live. St. Catharines Mayor Mat Siscoe is back to talk about what is happening around the city. Now, you were in Washington last week to meet with U.S. counterparts about all this tariff drama.
Yeah.
But you weren't allowed into the White House. Was it as much of a circus for you as it seemed like from the outside?
A little bit. You know, we've done this now. The Great Lakes St. Lawrence Cities Initiative, I'm the incoming chair, our co-chair in the next couple of months. We've done this trip every year. It's Great Lakes Days on Capitol Hill. This year, the timing just worked out. Everything that's going on, we had some very important issues talking about tariffs and bilateral trade. But we've brought a delegation to the White House in the past. There's never been an issue. We followed the same protocol that we have in the past, you know, submitted the names. The White House said they wanted to keep it smaller this year, so only 3 mayors, 1 American, 2 Canadian, myself and Mayor Plante from Montreal. But about 36 hours before we were supposed to meet, they said, oh, you didn't follow the appropriate diplomatic protocols. And so they said no to the Canadian mayors. And so we had to kind of brief a couple additional American colleagues on what messages we were hoping to get through. And I think they did a good job, but pretty frustrating for that to happen.
What were you hoping to accomplish while you were down there? And are you happy with what your delegation was able to get done?
Yeah, I mean, we had jam-packed 2 days on the Hill, 2.5 days. We met with industry experts, but more importantly with congressmen and women, with senators, and really just trying to get the message across about why this is damaging to both sides of the border. It's pretty interesting. The Great Lakes St. Lawrence Cities Initiative is American and Canadian mayors. And the American mayors were standing with us, you know, shoulder to shoulder, saying these blanket tariffs don't make any sense, you know, and they were identifying, and we were backing up, you know, the costs that are going to be increased on their side of the border as well. Something as simple as, you know, salt being shipped over to help with road maintenance in the winter. When you're talking about adding millions of dollars to the cost of road salt, well, every municipality on the Great Lakes is going to have to deal with that. And our American mayors, Republican or Democrat, were saying the same things. And frankly, when we talk to members of Congress, when we talk to senators, Republican or Democrat, they all don't really understand this either. I think this is the administration right now, and we're trying to keep focused on getting that message across.
How tough is it for communities on both sides of the border to deal with these on again, off again tariffs? Like, there's really, this changes sometimes multiple times a day.
Oh, and I made the joke in the middle of an industry roundtable that I was moderating on the Friday last week. I said, listen, I'm going to say some things, and it may have changed in the minutes since I sat down at the table, and it turned out it had. The president had pulled back some tariffs in the 15 minutes I had been speaking. It's very difficult for municipalities, and so that's why I appreciate that our provincial and federal governments are saying, listen, this is what we're doing to retaliate, and you know, these are going to stay in place unless this is pulled back. They're being very consistent in their messaging, and I think that's what we as Canadians need, is our government to being consistent in the face of the American administration not being consistent and constantly changing from day to day.
Now, moving on from tariffs, Premier Ford won a majority in the Ontario election we just had. What are you expecting in the next 4 years with him at the helm again?
First and foremost, I'm hoping and expecting that he's going to continue to lead the province with respect to this tariff threat the way he has. You know, I think a lot of us recognize that Premier Ford was the best choice in Ontario to be able to lead us against this threat. I saw a statistic the other day, polling said something like 2/3 of the province recognized he was the best choice. I think that's true. From my perspective in St. Catharines, though, and in Niagara, we've got a lot of priorities outside of tariffs that we need to be focused on. There are infrastructure projects that have been promised, but we also know that we need to see GO expansion coming down to Niagara. We need the all-day two-way GO service that we've been looking for. We think there's a pathway to get about halfway there with some acquisitions by the provincial government and Metrolinx. So we're going to continue to push that message. You know, but there are a lot of issues that have been raised during the campaign. We expect to see the Premier as often as we can down in Niagara with announcements for things that are coming our way.
And your thoughts on Mark Carney winning the Liberal leadership race?
I've said very consistently, I think we need to get to an election. I think Mr. Carney is ready to do that. I think the country needed to move on and have new leadership. I don't know what form that leadership's going to take. If he goes to the electorate, which I think is the appropriate thing to do, I think Canadians are getting a chance to make a decision. I look forward to working with whoever is leading the government in the coming months. I've always had good relationships with the MPs in Niagara, regardless of party stripe. I'll keep doing that.
Now, I have to ask you about the IceDogs and the OHL doing a cultural review of the Niagara IceDogs team. What are your thoughts on that?
It's it's a bit frustrating to see this happen again. It's happened a couple times in the last few years. We're gonna sit back and we're gonna wait to see the results of this review. Ultimately, this team is important to St. Catharines and Niagara. I've been an IceDogs season ticket holder for 15 years, but there's a lot of folks that really love this team. They've loved what they've seen on the ice this year. I think Ben Boudreau's done a good job with the team in the face of a lot of injuries in the last couple of months. So we want to get through whatever this review is, and we want to get to the other side, and we want to continue to build this team because it's important to our community.
All right, less than 30 seconds. They've made the playoffs for the first time since 2019, but as I mentioned, limped into the playoffs. Your thoughts on their chances? I
may have shouted at you through the TV when I heard you say that. Listen, they had injuries coming in. Owen Flores, their starting goaltender, has been out for about 6 weeks. Their second string goalie, Charlie Robertson, had injury as well. We're working hard. Flo's supposed to be back, according to the coach. So I'm excited to see the damage they can do in the playoffs.
Go IceDogs.
Go Dogs.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Cheers.